Ladies and gentlemen, we are live in prime time on the brightest lights, the biggest stage, the only platform where all music and all wrestling matters. And boy, tonight we're going to definitely X marks the spot. We'll talk about some things with this guy maybe going viral. And we'll talk about what's been going on in GTS. Because, last week on this show, there was this guy, after all, it was Shark Week, and he talked about the Redo Rumble. And he said it didn't matter who got in his way, including this man here, who's our guest. We'll get into it. Maybe I won't remind him about the match we just saw this past weekend, but we'll also talk about some place that he's been in, the TF crew. We'll most certainly get you ready for what's going on in Vegas and Viva, well, maybe Louie going Vegas, and we'll talk about his dad. We'll talk about his journey, and we'll maybe try to make up for last week's show where we didn't give him the Gary Wolf book. Tony Cheney got it. Well, got something else for him that I hope that he'll be happy about. We've got a connection, and I'll talk about that connection when we're on the air. But ladies and gentlemen, it is time now to give this man that introduction that he rightfully deserves. Now, he could talk about the thing that he always says about the fill-in-the-blank shot, but we do realize that we are a station that's been in the mainstream media, so I may not be able to say that words, but let's just say it starts with a C, and everybody's probably experienced it. I'll leave it at that. Imagine it. But nevertheless, it is time now to start this show off here in style on Sportzwire Radio, the number one global radio station where all music and all wrestling matters. So with that, without further ado, here on the Sports Report, number one cable sports show. Oh man, that is the reigning, defending GTS Intercontinental Champion, and a man that has certainly been keeping the family name alive and strong. And well, let's just say, making sure it continues to be hardcore and maybe going viral, even as of next weekend. His name is simply put the pride of South Amboy, New Jersey. The champ is here, my friend. How are we doing?
I'm good, man. It's an honor to be here on Sportswire Radio. It's an honor to be here in front of you guys. I've always been that dude that, does it for the fans. So doing something like this is an honor and a privilege. I thank you for the opportunity and the platform, and I can't wait to dig into some deep dives today.
Deep dives, boy, you really just want to test my fractured hand. But I mean, we'll certainly say the feeling is mutual. We thank you, and obviously what your dad has done for this great sport, and I'm gonna dive into that with you, not quite fully, but let's talk about maybe going into it March 13th. I want to start with X Brand Wrestling, because a lot of X Brand Wrestling I've talked about recently on Sportswire Radio. Mickey Vargas and Anthrax, everybody's been talking about that. You are going to be in the ring for the Going Viral Championship, and one of your opponents is a man that I've known for a very long time, and the other guy is the incumbent. But Louie Jr., talk to me about what we can expect next weekend and why you are going to win that X Brand Going Viral Championship.
Well, for those who don't know, X Brand has been a home away from home for a long time. Other than GTS, it is my current mainstay home. When a lot of other places shut down, a lot of other places, they didn't really understand who I was or what I was meant to be. X Brand took me in. So big shout out to Justin Valencia, Leah Grace. They took their chance on me, and I think I've proven why I continue to stay in X Brand Wrestling. Stefan Havoc, man, he is a talent and a half, and he is phenomenal in ring. He's a good person outside of the ring, along with Nico Gray, who I consider a brother and a friend. But these two gentlemen, they've been going at it for quite some time.
Yep.
I'm looking to add more gold to the mantle, man. I said it in the beginning that 2026 was my year in X Brand, in wrestling as a whole. So I hope you two are ready for the massacre that I have lined up, the amounts of countless sharp objects that I'm bringing with me. I plan on walking out of X Brand that day with another piece of gold around my waist and around my shoulder. I'm telling you both to bring it, because I'm not coming in there as the nice casual kid that everybody knows. I'm coming in there with an intent to kill, and I'm coming in there to bring all the ultra violence.
Let me ask you this question. You talked about Stefan Havoc and Nico Gray, and they've been going back and forth. So would that be to your advantage that these two guys have been locked in a feud for a while, where maybe you can kind of slide in there, champ, and add that second belt? And talk to me about how you see that, how those two guys have been locked in this feud, and maybe because of their own issues and their own animosity toward each other, maybe that would benefit you. Do you see it that way, and what's your thoughts?
I do. I plan on taking this one. This one's not going to be taken lightly at all. These two gentlemen have been going at it for, I'd say, the better part of about 6 months.
Yeah.
And, they're weakening each other up. And I'm still, like, as you know, I'm a machine. I keep going. I'm fueled by the energy and the violence and the blood that I spill. So, I'm going to see the perfect opportunity. And trust me, it's going to come. It's going to be there. No matter what, the opportunity is going to arise where one of them or both of them is going to take their eyes off the real prize. And I'm going to slide right in. I'm going to pounce on them, and I'm going to win. That's all I got to say about it.
I'm going to plug X Brand's YouTube channel, Instagram, shout them out, because everybody's been talking about X Brand, especially this past week where we saw the Anthrax and Mickey Vargas podcast, and that actually was a part of, Sportswire. That whole kind of came out of when Mickey was here, and I've known Mickey a long time, and Stefan Havoc, and he and Mickey Vargas have rode up and down the Northeast, and they've got these opportunities, certainly with Mickey in the X Brand Championship, and obviously Stefan with the Golden Barrel Championship. But, let me ask you, though, this question, and obviously hearing about this back and forth between Havoc, talking about your own perspective on it. Do you feel going into this match that you're in an advantage here, or how do you feel in that sense?
There's never, in deathmatch, there's never an advantage, because we all put the toll on our bodies, going through the glass and landing on barbed wire and the gussets and all that stuff. Your body's taking a beating every time you step in the ring. There's never really being 100%. I'm 20 years old and I'm not at 100%, and I will openly admit that. For Stefan and Nico, Stefan and Nico are both, deathmatch mainstays.
And you mentioned you're 20 now, not highlighting their ages, but certainly Havoc. I mean, he's got some years on you. So, and that's why I go back to, and I knew you were going to answer it that way, because Stefan Havoc, I mean, he's been around the block. He certainly got a long resume, whether it's in different places. And I would think that you would still feel, despite not being 100%, and that your body certainly has a lot less miles on, let's say, a Stefan Havoc, and that could seize that moment for you to come in there and take that championship away from Nico Gray because of the age where you are and where your opponents are.
Yeah, I'm hungry for it, and I think that's what I have above all else, is that I want it. I want the gold. I want to prove that I've already proven that I belong at X Brand, but I want to put the stamp on it. I've been in X Brand for about 2 years now, and every single time I've been close to gold, it slowly seems to miss my grasp. This time, I'm not letting it miss my grasp. I'm going to make sure I walk away with that championship.
Let me ask you another point. You brought up that this is your home company now. The last 2 years, you've been at X Brand Wrestling. That's got to also add something that, listen, this is your company where you've made a name for yourself. This is a company that you call home, and you'd like to have a championship added, especially where this is the place, like I said, that you call home.
Yes, 100%. 2 years ago, Anthrax, a good close brother of mine who I've known my entire career, inside and outside of the ring, that man is my family. He brought me to X Brand and said, "Hey, man, I see something here. I think you could do big things here." And my ultimate goal is to prove it to him and prove it to everybody else that I can do it. It's one of those things where I need to prove it to myself. I need to prove it to everybody else that I can walk away champion, because I don't know how many more times I'll get that opportunity at the Gold. So if I can't do it this time, I don't know if it'll ever be my time.
Oh, you're 20 years old. But I tell you what, though, what's interesting is the Going Viral Championship. And Stefan Havoc is a guy, going back to him especially, because I know him. I know him for a long time. And I've seen him. I've seen the different places he's traveled. This championship, in his mind, without going and having him on here yet, that's going to be a championship that he sees his name already on it. The definition of going viral. This is a guy, I've seen him in different places. I've seen him in different tournaments and in different things he's done. That's what he wants. So for him, this is going to literally have his name on it. That's why he's going to be so motivated. And then you've got the incumbent, Nico Gray, and you've got two different guys there. But I just think it's so fascinating that one guy is the incumbent and the other guy in Stefan Havoc, this is going to be a championship that he already sees with his name on it.
Yes, 100%. And again, Stefan, his in-ring work speaks for itself. He is phenomenal. He's not willing, he's willing to get violent. He's, not a shadow of a doubt. And I know both men can get violent and both men can bleed for the Gold. But there's a difference. I was born to bleed. And now I'm willing to go out there and die for that championship, no matter what. And I know that you two can't put me down. And I know that you two aren't going to be able to put the big bear down. So when you can't, just remember who put you to sleep. And it was me.
So I ask you formally, what would it mean to you to be the X Brand Wrestling Going Viral champion?
It would mean the world. Again, like I've said, I've almost held every piece of gold in X Brand. I've wrestled for the Borderlands title. I've wrestled for the world title. I've wrestled for the Going Viral Championship twice before. And every time it slowly moves farther and farther from my grasp. This would cement, I think, my legacy in X Brand. And I'm willing to do whatever it takes to do that.
We're going to find out. And if you are out there, first of all, a couple of things. Hit the sub button for X Brand Wrestling. I see somebody who is in the chat that does a way better job at talking to you deathmatch and hardcore wrestlers. I'll give her a shout out in a minute. But if you're out there, hit the sub button for X Brand Wrestling. Also, their Instagram page where you can see the likes of Louie G. You can see the likes of Stefan Havoc, Anthrax, and not the band, but with the two X's. Although I did once do Street Team for the band Anthrax. That's a long time ago. And also, if you're out there, go follow even Nico Gray because he's the champ at the moment. So that's certainly places that we want to support. And we have the Instagram page up of Nico Gray. We're here with Louie Jr. himself, not to be confused with Uncle Louie G's ice cream. But nevertheless, I figured you'd get that joke. But, I wanted to ask you, obviously you brought your dad up. I got to bring your dad up and his experience and what he's done. I mean, how much advice does he give you going into a big title match like this?
He trained me. I say that my dad.
Obviously, listen, we know with his resume. I mean, he wrestled Gary Wolf, a man that I also know. I get that.
30 years in the business as of this year. The man has seen it all. He's done it all. He's traveled all over the world, wrestled the likes of Gary Wolf, Abdullah the Butcher, Terry Funk, Ian Axel Rotten, Homicide, Balls Mahoney, Tommy Dreamer, Danny Doring. He's seen it all and he's done it all. I'm very lucky And that day I'll have my dad by my side because he's also wrestling a man by the name of Crazy Dave in a home run derby death match. He tells me the same thing that he's told me before every big match. Go into it with your head up. Go into it ready for war. Because that's what it is at the end of the day. It's a war. Which man is willing to take as much punishment as physically possible until the other two can't stand anymore? And I'm willing to do that.
What was it like teaming with him?
That was the ultimate honor. The biggest thing I've done in my whole career. And I'll probably do in my whole life. Again, teaming with someone with the caliber that he has means the world. Because it taught me so much. Just seeing him in the ring, it taught me so much. Without even having to say a word. So nothing will ever beat that moment for me. In the many times I've teamed with my dad, nothing will beat it.
There's got to be pressure, I would think, though, in following his footsteps. When you have to talk to me about that pressure, because again, we talk about in the wrestling world, like all the people that have to follow their dads, and yet you all with Low Life, a lot of people know him. Listen, GCW, again, we've mentioned the names, Gary Wolf. I mean, it's a long list of people. So, I mean, I know you're just starting out, but that's got to be an immense amount of pressure for you going in, following his footsteps.
100% is. I wake up every day thinking of ways to get better. Whether I'm in the gym or I'm eating right or, I'm in a ring when I can be. My goal is to achieve everything that he did and then some. Because I want to keep the legacy alive and afloat. He says that his hourglass is winding down, man. And mine is still has a lot left in it. The father-son bond obviously will live forever, but the tag team will live forever because of all the things that we've done. We debuted the tag team. Funny enough, my debut match, we had teamed together to wrestle Anthrax and Alex Stretch. We debuted the Completely Unstoppable Machines at promotion Loud East that runs out of Queens.
Yes, yeah, I heard of Loud East.
And it was, people who had never seen either one of us before. They were all chanting, CUM, CUM, we'll keep it PG.
Yeah, I did say that some people would say it on there. I did say that some people would say it.
But, it's teaming with him has been the ultimate honor, and carrying his legacy means the most to me.
And listen, Queens and wrestling there. I mean, my buddy Chris Urban came out of Queens because he trained under the Amazing Red, which was obviously the dojo there, the House of Glory dojo, and it's right off you wrap around the belt, and it's another exit. And I was there, so I can picture actually where you wrestled. And growing up in Brooklyn, you're right around the corner. And I will get back to some other things, but I do want to point out that one of your opponents is here. That is Stefan Havoc, who said he will walk out and he will be the XBW going Venom champion.
Hey, man, I said it before. I don't know if you were here, Stefan, but I respect the hell out of you. You know how to get violent. You know how to get down and dirty. You're not willing to just sit there and take it. You're going to give it back, and I know you're going to give it back. So I look forward to our first time ever encounter. But I'm telling you now, I'm walking out of there with that championship. Whether I have to pry it off of your dead, cold body, I'm going to do it.
Well, that's a reason why you should certainly be paying attention to the match. And, I definitely have to talk about GTS here in a minute because I see some other people out there, and I do want to make sure everybody said, but, I got to bring it up. But I got to ask, because, I think it's so fascinating to see you in X brand and then almost in the complete opposite, wrestling GTS. I mean, we've seen this with, Mikey Anarchy's done the same thing, kind of. I mean, Gabe, but you especially, though, I think there's such a bigger difference in the sense. And, what is that like where you're doing such a polar opposite in wrestling in GTS? I got to ask you about that, champ.
It's different. It's very different. For those who don't know, I watched GTS probably my entire life growing up. And, I never thought I'd sit here with the Intercontinental title around my shoulder, to be honest. I met Grim and Duhop at a Creative Pro show on July 17th, 2016. Funny enough, Grim wrestled Bear Bronson for the YouTube title that day. I remember meeting him, and I told him, I said, I will one day wrestle on your show. And he looked at me and said, I can't wait for that day to come. So, again, it was just a dream. I had never imagined it, never thought it would ever happen. I was reached out by a man named Johnny Mack, who was running a show at the Yard, and he messaged me. He said, "Hey man, I'd like to bring you in." Blah blah blah. I was like, "Yeah, 100%." I ended up wrestling Anthrax, Brax, and a man by the name of Tarzan.
Oh
And
yeah,
then
yeah, yeah. I know who he is. I
I
know that.
ended up wrestling Pete Corvus as well,
Yeah, I know
and
Pete.
I became the MWF United States champion. And that was the first time I had ever stepped foot in the GTS arena, and it was an honor for me because it was always a dream. I met the likes of Jungle Jim. I saw Grim again, Hop, James Gray was there, Era Spiral, Winter, Vex, all my homies that I'm now very close friends with were there. Adam Bazar, who I'll get to him later. But all those guys, man, I met them for the first time, and it was awesome. Grim fell in love with the completely unstoppable machine gimmick, and he said, "Hey, man, you're welcome to come back anytime." I was very nervous, to be honest, that they wouldn't embrace me. Um, I
Really?
I was very nervous. Yes, I hesitated to go back for about a month. One day, the lovely man, Gabe Sayers, pulled up to my house and said, "Get in the car. We're going to
Yes, a man
GTS."
I've met in real life. Yes, a man I have met in real life. Yep, I
He
know.
uh, he pulled up and said, let's go to GTS." I said, "Okay, let's go." I got there, and since then, we're going on about 8 months now. I've been at GTS every week for the last 8 months. I've only missed, I think, 1 or 2 weeks due to illness, but other than that, I haven't missed a GTS show in a long time. It's an honor to be there, man, because again, never in a million years did I ever expect to wrestle there, let alone win championships there. So from me to Grim, I don't know if he's watching, I don't know if he will, but I thank you for everything you've done for me in the last 8 months. It's been an honor and a privilege to be a part of your company and to help carry your company to everything that it is and the enigma that it's become. And to the whole roster, Mark the Shark, the Cheenies, Adam, people that should be on television because of how good they are. I
Absolutely. No, listen,
I
I just
I
had the
thank
team
you
on.
all.
Mark's become a favorite. I think Mark the Shark. I mean, I know he's here and he's definitely circling, but no, Mark the Shark. I mean, he's got blood in the water. I got that. But I mean, listen, Mark the Shark. I definitely expect. I expect all of you to do big things. But you know what? I got to tell you, and I said this before. This is before you showed up in GTS. People don't realize GTS is the seventh biggest wrestling company in all of the world. I mean, that's the
Yeah.
reach of GTS. I mean, you're talking about
Mhm.
it's bigger than some companies with TV deals. I mean, the amount of subs you guys have and the social media following. I mean, really, what you guys have in this massive audience. It's just, I mean,
Yeah.
it's amazing.
It's special, man. It's something you don't see every day, because everybody thinks WWE, AEW, ROH, TNA, and then to find out that we are the seventh, biggest wrestling company in the world. There's only two other companies above us, and then you got us. We're in the top 10 charts, and that's nuts to me. That thousands and thousands of people watch me and all my friends every week punch each other in the face, even if it's even if it's in the snow. It's
Yeah, I mean,
amazing.
listen, I've had other guys come on here that went and did the run right before you came in. It was like Austin James. It was
Hmm.
I'm trying to think. It was Austin James. It was uh is D Wright. It was one of the
Hmm.
guys from his group there, and that and there was like a Sean Phoenix. I think was another one of the guys.
Yep.
And, it was amazing. Like they were telling me on and off the air just the reach. I mean, you guys get 30, 40,000 views, sometimes more on YouTube, and then that's not counting the social media on X and
No.
Facebook, Instagram. I mean,
Yep.
it's really a life of its own.
Yeah, it is. It's like I said, it's an enigma that has grown so much since 12 when Grim started.
Yeah.
The first video I ever watched was him and Super Pop in Walmart, just fucking around doing random things. And now here we are with 100 or with 1.5 million
Yeah.
subscribers. God knows how many views overall, and it's grown so much.
Listen, think about this, right? 1 point, like you said, almost 1.5 million subs, right? I'm big in the rock and roll world the last year, right? I get all these big acts in the heavy metal and the hard rock world. And I got to tell you, They don't have the reach that GTS has. These are people that have sold millions of records. These are people that have been in stadiums, arenas, and they don't have the reach that GTS has. Think about that, right? These are people that are household names. Talking about
Mhm.
names like Gus G, the second longest tenured guitarist for Ozzy Osbourne, Mark Farner, Grand Funk Railroad, Josie Scott Saliva. I mean, these guys are just those three names. I'm not even talking about everybody else. I mean, those are heavy hitters in itself, but yet your reach on GTS is bigger than that. I think that speaks volumes to what you guys have all put the work in for.
Yeah. Wrestling isn't ballet, like JR said years ago. We're legitimately getting hurt. They say taking one bump is taking a 35 miles per hour car wreck.
I found that out
So
firsthand, fell in the blizzard.
if
So
if if you do enough, if you get into enough car wrecks, eventually, one of them's gonna put you out. But wrestlers just keep going and going and going until they physically can't go anymore. Dory Funk Jr. is 89 years old and wrestled Onita last year in an exploding fucking no
listen,
rope barbed wire match.
Blair, 3 years ago, wrestled
Yep.
with Jay against Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett, and he was with Andrade at the time, who was his son-in-law. Not now, but he has long said that he wanted to die in a wrestling ring. I mean, I saw
Yep.
a picture the other day of Jerry the King Lawler, who was in a wheelchair but
Mhm.
still wants to go out there and wrestle. So yeah, wrestling is not like anything else. I mean, and your dad, a legend in his own right, Low Life Louie. I mean, talking about 30 plus years in this business, he keeps going. I mean, so you know about it more than anybody else, and you were practically born in this sport. So I mean, you're probably going to go the same way.
I plan on going as long as life takes me. I'm going on in December. It'll be 5 years. So I've started wrestling at 15.
That makes sense. I've had a lot of UK wrestlers, and they train early in the UK. That makes sense.
Shout out to Jack Harrop, who's another second generation deathmatch star. Son of Iceman, who is fucking phenomenal, taking over the world in the UK.
Yeah, I interviewed a guy in the UK, Radu Bula. Sorry for the echo. Slow. I am a little slow. I know there's people here in the chat. I'll get to you. I want to give you something, but let's stay on GTS for a minute because I know there's a guy there that's definitely circling for your blood. And the reason you're kind of on here is actually because of this man last week. And you guys did have a match. I'll show some of the footage, but I really want to focus on this redo Rumble here coming up because that's where you do have an opportunity to get some more gold and talk to me first about what Mark the Shark said, where he was going to win the redo Rumble. And he said it didn't matter if it was a name like Louie Jr. He was going to show basically his meat and potatoes way that he was going to win that redo Rumble and get that legendary YouTube championship. And you must respond to what Mark the Shark, the GTS United States champion, had to say, the American Muscle Shark.
I love Mark, but like I said, I don't care who I have to throw over that day. Grim, Doo-Hop, Winter, Mark, Adam, it does not matter. Because if you go back and watch the Regal Rumble and a lot of other big events, at every time before I step through the ropes, childhood dream unlocked. And it's very true. It's a childhood dream that I got to check off the bucket list. If I get to win the GTS Legendary YouTube Championship, that will be the biggest bucket list item in GTS that I can cross off. And I plan on doing that. Me and Grim have our issues going into the redo Rumble. So I'm not afraid to throw him over the top rope and take his championship.
That's a lot that you just said there, but knowing your own problems with Grim, but you still have to focus on the task at hand. I mean, are you going to be able to still not get too distracted by personal animosities of late?
I think I can. I think I can stay on track. That belt, that championship means more to me than a lot of people know. And again, it doesn't matter who stands in my way. I'm not going to let them stand in my way from that championship.
What would it mean to you to be the GTS Legendary YouTube Champion?
That would mean everything. Because like I said, almost the same thing as X Brand, GTS has become my home away from home. And I'm there all the time, putting in the work, putting in the effort to get better. So to hold a prestigious title like that's been around for a long time, and the likes of Robbie E., Pete Corvus, Bull James, Grim, Doo-Hop, Jungle Jim. That the list of lineage that championship holds is very, very long. So to add my name to the list would mean the world to me.
Now, a name you didn't mention is the man that's in the center of that ring who was the incumbent. That is Ice T. Curtis. Any any thoughts on him, or certainly the Cheenies and how they play a role in this? And I was just curious because I had to
Man,
bring that up, and especially looking at Ice T there, another New Jersey guy, actually on the other side of another bridge in Bayonne, nevertheless. But any thoughts on how you may cross paths with, let's say, an Ice T. Curtis or a Tony Cheney?
Ice T is a workhorse, man. Ice T and Tony and Fran, all three of them deserve
Yes.
to be on TV. I got to do a trilogy with Fran. Fran is amazing in and out of the ring, a
Yes.
wonderful person. Same thing with Tony and Ice T. They are all amazing people who put in the work week in and week out, who go out there and bust their ass in front of whether it be 5 people or 500 people. They will give you a show no matter what. It would be an honor to run into both Cheenies. In fact, all three Cheenies. I think I could make a lot of magic with those three human beings. Um, but again, I'm not letting them stand in my way of victory. Like I said, I'm making 2026 a memorable year for myself.
Oh,
And
it's memorable already, I'll tell you that.
if they're the ones who stand in my way, I have to go through them.
Well, I'll tell you what, you may be a hardcore deathmatch wrestler, but I have to think in the snow that steel post hurt more than any other shot you've taken in X-Brand, because I'm looking at it. Because if I fell and I took a shot, you're a lot tougher than me. That's still gonna hurt you tenfold.
That pole was frozen solid, and that hurt like a bitch. That snow, it wasn't cold in the moment because the adrenaline's pumping
You're
and the
running
blood's
around.
flowing.
Yeah, I remember you ever played football as a kid and you run around. It wasn't cold, and all of a sudden you go in and you take your boots off, and then you're like, "Oops, what was I doing?" Yeah.
It was freezing cold. Like about maybe a half hour later, I was freezing.
You were freezing, and listen, and obviously Grim hit you with a frozen chair, and let's just say, hopefully, we don't see the snow again and any more snow, because you and Mark the Shark are going at it, and yeah, I could see why Grim has some personal problems with you, and he's definitely roughing you up just a little bit there for the redo Rumble, and there is the American Muscle Shark who's sort of, perplexed in what to do here, but nevertheless, I mean, it is a benefit to Mark the Shark here, but boy, Grim he's softening you up because he knows that he doesn't want you at 100%. You said here at the beginning of the show, Louie Jr., that you are not at 100%, and seeing what Grim has done to you, you are definitely not at 100% going into this redo Rumble. And also, by the way, because you were a topic, not just last week, but as you knew a few weeks prior when the Cheenies were here, and you're a guy that a lot of people are looking at that Rumble to get out early. They talked about that. And the American Muscle Shark said he had no qualms whatsoever about dealing with you and handling you in that Rumble. And you're going to be a target for obvious reasons.
Yeah, it took I think 11 people in the Regal Rumble to get rid of me.
Yeah, we showed the footage on here. I think it was here in the chat.
It was Doo-Hop, Eric Spiral, James Gray, Jimmy Controversy, Jungle Jim, Ice-T, Cheney, and I forget who the other couple individuals were. But remember, if I get rid of you a lot quicker than you get rid of me, there is no numbers advantage. There is no, let's work together and get rid of them. Because I plan on getting rid of every single one of you like a blink of an eye.
But how do you fight 11-on-1, though? What if they decide to go 12-on-1, 13-on-1, especially after what you just said, Louie?
That's the problem. They can't beat me on their own. That's why they need each other. Because guess what? I had Mark the Shark beat dead to rights here, and Grim stuck his nose in my business. I should be dual champion right now.
Well, obviously, Grim had other ideas. He definitely sees you as a threat, as a lot of people rightfully do, because look at your size. Look at where you wrestle. Look at the blood that you come from. Listen, you're from hardcore deathmatch royalty. I mean, your family name, and that's why, listen, people are threatened by you. There's no
Mm-hmm.
question about that, and I hope for your sake that you'll be prepared. But if the numbers are against you, I mean, it doesn't matter what you can do, and even as strong and dominant as you are, Louie, I hope it's not 11-on-1 for you once again at that redo Rumble.
I hope not. And again, if it does come down to 11-on-1, 12-on-1, it just shows that you all are scared because you can't beat me on your own, so you need to rely on each other. And that's the crazy part. If y'all had the testicles and the willpower to beat me 1-on-1, you would, but you can't.
Well, I guess it's also because it's a Rumble. And in a Rumble, it's every person for themselves. And they think about it
True.
in the best way to get to the ultimate goal is to eliminate those like you who are obviously going to be the biggest ones. I think we even spoke about this during the Regal Rumble. This came up during
Yeah.
the Regal Rumble, let alone the redo Rumble. So there's no question that if it's every person for themselves, people will say, look, you know what, for a moment, my enemy, is my enemy and your enemy is friends. And we
Yeah.
want to eliminate the guys like you. I mean, that's just what it comes down to.
And you know what? I respect it 100% because if it was me on the other side, I would do the same thing. I would do
Well,
the
you
same
don't have
thing.
to, though. You don't have to, though. You're Louis Jr.
No,
You've
I don't
got the
have to.
size, you've got the ability, so you don't have to do any of that. And that's why Grim is throwing the water jug at you. He's throwing
Yep.
by any means necessary to keep you down because, listen, there is certainly a fear that you could win that legendary YouTube championship. Everybody knows it. That's
Yeah.
why people are talking about it. That's why people definitely going to be tuned in. There's people here in the chat, some of your competitors, some of your
Uh-oh.
peers, and
Uh-oh.
they know. Listen, we're going to get to them in the chat. We're going to get to them in a minute. Don't worry. We're going to do that. But obviously, listen, I mean, you've got a lot of people that you probably have the most bullseye on your back, even more so than Grim, just because of the fact
Yeah.
that your size, what you do, where you wrestle. I mean, they can't get you down 1-on-1. You're an
No.
immovable, like you said, you're an immovable object.
Yep.
I mean, that's just the reality of it. I mean, I hope for your sake you'll be able to deal with it, but I'm going to get to the chat because there are some people that want to talk to you. Hopefully, they'll be a lot less kinder than some of the things we spoke about. Zilla's here first. Thank you, Zilla, for being here. Very excited to have Louie on here. And Louie, we got to talk about is from the pride of South Amboy. Now, I'm not from South Amboy, but my mother lives in South Amboy. I should almost give you. I actually gave it to you off the air. You should knock on her door one day and say, "Hey, I was on Sportswire." You'll freak her out, and make she'll have to now tune into every Sportswire show after that. As much as I want to give out her address, I realize she knows my address also. And there's a lot more people in the world in Brooklyn and Staten Island that do know me. And kind of like you, Louie, there'd probably be a lot more people that would love to know my address and probably, maybe fracture my other hand. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Just kidding. But let's move. But there are a lot of people that do know me out there. But thank you for that. There is Mark the Shark. Whoa! We're going to get to him. He's got some comments. Got some comments. Don't worry. Please hit the sub button for X Brand Wrestling. We want to support our friends at X Brand. They have been kind. We've done some stuff with them in the past. Mickey Vargas has been here a bunch of times. Shocky's been here. Another guy we know very well, Hardcore. Hardcore. He's been here once upon a time. We love the X Brand gang. They've always been supportive of us. Anthrax, I've spoken to many times. Actually, we're trying to get Anthrax on, but I think Carly did it. I think Carly did a better job of speaking with Anthrax because I can handle the band. She can handle the X Brand champion. But let's move on here. There she is. She says, everyone needs to pay attention to Louie. He's doing amazing things. It's only the beginning because really what she's saying is that you're better off being interviewed by her because she'll do a better job. And that's where you should be next when you win the X Brand Going Viral Championship. But I'm just kidding. She's awesome. Give her a follow.
Carly. Yeah, Carly. You got to follow Carly. I did an interview with Carly a while ago, and it opened my eyes on a lot of things. I love you, Carly. And yeah, that's what I'll say for right now.
Well, listen, I think a lot of people love her. But I'll tell you what you should do is you should go follow her on Instagram because she's certainly a lot more popular and a lot more interesting. And she'll do a lot better job interviewing Louie Jr. than I will. But nevertheless, that's your Instagram page. Let's get to some more comments. Here we go. Also, my friends in the EWA from the great state of Ohio, maybe scouting and recruiting, maybe for more talent. That could certainly be the case. The high authority, Hubie Jenkins. How you doing there, Hubie? We'll see Hubie on soon for his next show. And he has Ashton Day on his next show. And Ashton Day is a guy that wrestled for the NWA championship and wrestled in AEW. So thank you. And he said, Louie, whoa, baby, we going to go. There you go. There you go. I love CUM. So you can figure out what that is. And I would say it for the audience, but I do realize that I have a couple of big guest I have to announce later this week on Sportswire, and I don't want the press and the label to say don't go on there. We read that comment off. Thank you very much. If you're also here, hit the sub button for us. And Louie Jr. is the go. I'll tell you what. I mean, you're coming in here. You're coming in like on your high horse and talking about the GTS Intercontinental Championship, the possibility to be a dual champion, X-Brand Wrestling. We spent a lot of time on. So there's no question. You are the pride of South Amboy. I could certainly see why South Amboy is represented very well between you and your dad. I mean, I'm sure you must be a South Amboy High graduate because I do know South Amboy High School. There you go.
Yes.
So I know a little bit of South Amboy. And you've probably been to the what's this? The strip club on the left. Well, don't tell us publicly, but you probably know exactly what I'm talking about. But
I plead the fifth.
Yeah, plead the fifth because I don't know where it is. But I have only been to South Amboy 3 times. But my mother lives there. But I tell you where we want to live, on the YouTube channel of GTS, where you can certainly see more Louie Jr. content and the likes of Mark the Shark and the Sheenies and Emily Saxton, who some people call a Karen, and Gabe Sayers in the past, and Doc Holliday. We're going to get to the TF crew in a minute. So there we go. Also, your Little House of Fun match will be my House of Horrors. See you on Friday, the 13th. You know, the irony, right, that you're going to have this match, right, with Nico and Stefan on Friday the 13th. Has that dawned on you, that the irony of all this?
Hey, man, Jason Voorhees is my favorite horror guy. So if you want to play that game, let's bring a machete and have a nice violent duel. But again, I'm not afraid to slash somebody if I have to. So.
You know what? Considering you and your dad, and I also do want to point out, I don't know if this has happened recently, but this is the second straight Friday. It's Friday the 13th. February is Friday the 13th. March is Friday the 13th. So that's another reason why you want to support X-Brand Wrestling. Want to say hello to my buddy, Mr. Michael Christian, said from GTS Wrestling. Amazing to see. I remember watching Graham do the figure shows. Yes, he did do them once upon a time, and well, now he's the 7th biggest wrestling company in the world. Thank you very much. He's not talking about you, Louie, because you don't have mutton chops, but he would if you did grow mutton chops. So Michael did like my mutton chops. So, and Jimmy Controversy, yes, who many people remember here on Sportswire, has been here several times, but not recently. But yes, he is a big part in the past of GTS. Yes, hello to Mark the Shark. Hello to Stefan Havoc, who's been here many times. Shark's gonna yeet you over the top rope. You see how he said that, though?
Oh, this guy.
Over the top rope. I mean, somebody's channeling their own Uso, the American Muscle Shark. What do you say?
Mark's going to take his muscles and go home empty-handed. I'm sorry, Mark. You're not eating anything over the top rope, bud. You're getting eaten over the top rope.
But sharks need to eat, and they look at a guy like you, and obviously they see you with him. We're not going to go and say it, but he needs to eat. He's hungry. He's hungry. Well,
he ain't eating this one. I'll tell you that right now. So, Mark, you got to find your next prey to hunt on.
Well, I don't know, ladies and gentlemen. I tell you what, this is another reason why we are very excited about what's ahead here in the world of GTS, X-Brand Wrestling, and TF Crew. Also, we wrestled in 30-degree temperatures yesterday. It hurts way more. Yeah, I don't know what it is about wrestling in the cold, but I do think it hurts more than a hardcore and a death match. There is something about being outside in the cold. And please, I don't want to hear anybody in like June and July on Sportswire say, oh, it's too hot. Oh, my God, it's too hot. I can't take it. Just remember, if you're in the Northeast, just remember what we went through this winter. My hand is living proof. Just remember what we went through. So when it's 90 degrees and it's like 9,000% humidity, just remember this winter. So I'm just pointing that out for people in the chat. So you're welcome, and thank you, Hubie. Hubie is in Ohio. He does get it worse than we do. No shot, Lou. Ooh, no shot, Lou.
All right, Mark.
Mark is definitely, I guess he had his Frosted Flakes today.
Yeah, Mark drank his chocolate milk. He's bulking up right now.
He's always bulking up, though.
That is true.
I've been training extra hard to throw Louie over the top rope at the Regis. See what I mean? You're a target. Did I
Not
not
happening.
say that?
Mark, it's not happening, man. You and I both know I'd have your championship around my waist if it wasn't for Grim. So I don't want to hear nothing from you, buddy.
Well, let's get to some more comments because there's a lot of them. Yes, hello, and he put the emoji. I got that. Also,
wow.
Fill in the blanks, ladies and gentlemen.
Love you too, Bex.
Say hello to Carly out there. Yes, I hope you stayed with us. You already know, nothing but love for you, Louie. You're an incredible person inside and outside of the ring. I can't wait for the whole world to see how awesome you are. Well, you're here right now, and I would remind you to make you feel good. Now, Gary Wolf was in your chair once upon a time. Your dad knows him. Rhino was here. Raven was here. Savio Vega, who wrestled Stone Cold Steve Austin once upon a time, and only the co-founder of Megadeth, who created thrash metal, David Elfson was here. And I mentioned Josie Scott. I mentioned Mark Farner. You know, I mentioned Doug Pinnick of King's X in the past has been on. I mean, there's a lot of people that have been on here. Gus G, the second longest tenured guitarist for Ozzy Osbourne. Joel Hoekstra, the Trans-Siberian Orchestra in White. So you're in the same chair as those men have sat in. So you're certainly you're an incredible person. You're now in the same chair as they were. So you're doing a good job. And Jimmy Controversy.
And yeah, we can put Jimmy on the list. We can't even forget about Mark the Shark. Mark the Shark as well.
But Mark the Shark, I gotta say this. Mark the Shark, he's become a favorite of mine. Recently. Yeah. There's something about Mark the Shark as I'm about to choke here. He is going to be a regular on here. This guy, listen, those guys, it's great. But Mark the Shark, I have a feeling we are seeing him on here in a few weeks. Speaking of people, because I'm wearing his shirt, hardcore deathmatch wrestler. Speaking of me dying here, Ox McCoy is here. How you doing, Ox? And I'm wearing his shirt, and he's in the IMF. And it's always Shark Week when Mark the Shark is around. I guess how do sharks survive in the winter?
Yeah, that's a good question. That's a very good question. Are you really a shark, Mark? I don't know. Think about that.
You know, Charlie Sheen famously once had tiger blood. We'll see about that with Mark the Shark. Yeah. Thank you, Hubie, for subbing to X Brand Wrestling and to Grimm's, although Grimm has a lot of subs. I don't think Grimm will actually notice the sub count. He's got so many. Probably not. He's got so many subs that he doesn't realize it. I mean, people tell me, "Oh, you have a lot of subs," but I can still see the numbers go up. I think at Grimm's level, I don't think you see them. And Marky Sharky. Shark beats them all, and Shark eats them all. Obviously, there are Pokemon play on words here.
What a guy! What a guy!
He's got some interesting things. You didn't mention the next biggest question. What's your favorite snack? My favorite snack right now is me not choking on my own regurgitate. I actually right now the only thing I like to snack on is my cast here so I can get it off. That's my favorite snack at the moment. Biting this snack, we need Mark the Shark to take a shark bite out of it so I can get it off. Let's get to some more comments though. I heard that Louie likes sushi.
I do.
May or may not be true.
I mean, I do love sushi.
No, I was actually with one of my friends. He was having sushi in Manhattan here, and it was like too expensive. I had ribs instead, but maybe you'll go figure that out. Sharks got to eat, and sharks swim south for the winter. Thank you, Hubie, for letting us know. Although something tells me that Mark the Shark didn't swim south this winter because
he stayed in North Jersey.
Yeah, we just saw him on GTS TV. Favorite snack: sour gushers. Okay, that's a good. I guess. If you give me a snack, I'll go with a Snickers, right? I'll take the cheap but easy one. I'll give you a Snickers. But you know what, Louie? I do want to talk about TF Crew for a few minutes, but I got to give you something because I do owe you. I definitely owe you because you are the pride of South Amboy, New Jersey. And that's where my mother lives. And although I wish she wouldn't live in South Amboy, but not because of you, obviously, because you probably would be very happy to run into her. I do want to share my screen because for those that are listening and watching here in prime time on the brightest lights, the biggest stage here, the only platform where all music and all wrestling matters, Louie, congratulations. It's your day today.
Oh, wow.
There you go. It's your day. Yes, it's your day.
Wow.
Your day. It's your day.
Thank you so much, Tom. That means a lot. It's an honor. Like I said, it's been amazing to be here with you guys, talking it up. this
Yeah, I have a
means
lot of
more than
fun. I
you'll
have a
ever
lot of
know.
fun. I'm very happy to be here. Trust me. I'm always happy to be with the people, and especially now because I don't have a hand at this point. So we'll give you the physical copy when we're off the air, and you most certainly deserve it. And listen, Mark the Shark had a day, so you have to get a day.
Thank you.
Favorite dinner, tuna dog. Yes, Hubie has a big short on YouTube that went viral for tuna dogs. If you're in Ohio and you show up to his company, I would recommend not to have the tuna dogs, but Revolution Pizza. And I do sometimes sponsor their shows like the TF Crew. And yes, absolutely, Louie. Great stuff, Louie. We'll come back to GTS and X Brand in a few minutes, but I got to ask you, you're a part of TF Crew. You
Yep.
know I have to talk about that because, as you're well aware of, I have been a sponsor for every TF Crew show that's been in a venue where people paid to show up. I've sponsored at least bought a ticket to every one of those shows. I have even though I've never been to a TF Crew show, I have a 100% participation rate because I've donated or sponsored every one of those shows. You have been a part of that. You have teamed with your dad there. You have certainly been a part of a number of things there. And I would hope that we get a chance to see you in TF Crew again.
TF Crew again, a group of young, hungry talent who can fucking take over the world. The first time I was there, I got to team with my dad and wrestled Gabe and Mikey, two amazing people in and out of the ring.
Love Mikey.
I love Mikey. I love Gabe. They are my brothers forever. I gotten to work with the lights of the Hot Commodity and Ron Voyage as of late with Adam Bazar and Winter. And then if you were at Milford Mania, which was, another, again, I could say thank you to Gabe and Angel, a bucket list option crossed off. I got to wrestle in a fucking mall in front of 400 plus people, in a nice rumble, the likes of Adam Bazar, Emily Saxton, Flying Ryan, who's making his name all over the world as of late. And a lot of the younger TF Crew talent. It was an honor to be there. It's an honor to be a part of TF Crew. There's a couple things I'd like to achieve in TF Crew. The Cheenies have a nice piece of tag team gold around their waists. And I have a guy who's my tag team partner and my dad. So whenever the Cheenies are ready to have a good old-fashioned Donnybrook, I'm ready to fight.
Maybe the Cheenies should have different plans. Maybe they should go to an autograph signing. Maybe they should do an Instagram video instead where they're going to do card breaking, because that may not be a good idea for them to wrestle, you and your dad, especially with what you guys do compared to what they do. So maybe they should go to Instagram card breaking. I'll let them know that, because I know they're going to come back on here before they go to Viva Las Vegas. So maybe that I can tell them that for you, that they should go maybe focus on some Instagram card breaking instead of the opportunity of wrestling you and your dad.
Like I said, man, TF Crew is full of talent, man. You got Angel is making his name. Gabe.
Oh my goodness.
The likes of Jeff Nova.
How about Castor of late? Castor and Doc Holliday. What's going to happen there with that? I think that's so fascinating to what Doc did to him, and Castor's coming for him. LJ Wash, another guy.
LJ. Those guys, Castor and LJ specifically, them and Christopher Black, those three guys have such a bright future ahead of them because they are talented, they're willing to learn, they're willing to put their bodies on the line for the audience, and that's what you need in this business. Those three guys specifically come to mind, and I always said the first day I met Castor, I told him that he would be a star because he's very good. You got guys like Leonidas and Kuma who are coming up, and they're still learning day by day. Not everybody's gonna be the Amazing Red overnight, but everybody's putting in work, everybody's fighting, everybody's trying to fucking get to the top, and I think those guys can get there. Because again, if you keep working, if you keep going with it, you got it.
I'm glad that you and I see the same things in Castor, because a couple of years ago, I said it to Gabe when he first came on the first time, that this guy looked like straight out of Central Casting. And I'm glad you and I see some of the same things. And obviously, TF Crew, being a part of the Milford Mania and that many people, I mean, just what a surreal moment, right? At the Milford Mall. And I mean, just, an amazing achievement for all of you guys. Congratulations, by the way, on that.
Thank you. You know what it is, man? And I think it was what made it all, wrestling in front of all those people was worth it. But I think what tied it all together was the VIP meet and greet before the show, signing a whole bunch of autographs for all those kids, taking pictures, making those kids feel like they were a part of this show. And that's my job. I do it for the fans. I do it to put a smile on people's faces. And that day really put a lot of things into perspective for me because I had kid after kid coming up and I was signing pictures and shirts and 8x10s and taking pictures with the GCS belt that I brought with me. That day alone really meant a lot to me in both my wrestling life and my personal life because it made me realize a lot of different things, man. So if you can ever get out to a show, just go support indie wrestling, deathmatch wrestling. It doesn't matter what it is. Support wrestling. People do this. We do this for you guys, man. We don't do this for ourselves. I've never done wrestling for myself. I do wrestling because I love it. I want to put a smile on people's faces. I want people to forget about their issues for 4 hours and come enjoy a show. If I can put a smile on somebody's face, I've done my job.
No, absolutely. Listen, and that's why we want people to support the TF Crew in a couple of different ways. First of all, hit the sub button for the new channel. It's TF Crew TV. You can see some of the content here with the guys, and you can also see some upcoming stuff on their Instagram page, and you can see the likes of, Louie Jr. on there, the likes of Mark the Shark and the Cheenies and Angel Santiago. I mean, listen, not to spend all day on TF Crew with you because I know you have other things you want to talk about here, but, Angel Santiago, an amazing run that he's had and the people he's been wrestling, Cheeseburger, Aaron Rook, shout out to Cheeseburger, by the way, like you said, shout out to him and, what he's been doing. And then you got to think about Nunzio being a part of this last show. I mean, a man that, your dad knows very well, but an ECW original, a man that arguably should be in the WWE Hall of Fame that was on this show. Yeah. Just, it's so great. I got to ask you because, you're a part of GTS, then you're a part of X Brand, then you're a part of TF Crew. You've got such an interesting dynamic of these three companies that you're a part of, You know
what it is? A lot of people, when I first started, my first ever pro match was a death match. And I always said I'd be a deathmatch guy. But people don't realize that I can wrestle. Everyone's like, oh, why is he doing a regular match? Why is he not using weapons? Because I know how to wrestle, guys. We're not trained to hit each other with light tubes. We're trained how to wrestle. And I was trained by my dad and Homicide and Matt Tremont. And along the way, I met guys like B-Boy and Speedball Mike Bailey and did seminars. And I learned how to do all these things. And I love doing them. But I'd much rather beat somebody over the head with a baseball bat wrapped in barbed wire than put somebody in an arm bar.
Well, listen, it's just like that, in the hard rock and the heavy metal world. Winger famously, got a Grammy Grammy nomination for classical music. People think, oh, you're, long hair and you headbang. But no, people do different things. I mean, that's just part of life. And you as a wrestler, that's what you're trained to do. People just, they try to typecast you. They try to stereotype you. But what you guys will do out there, you guys are all tremendous talents. We're obviously excited about the future. If you are out there, please support Louie. I know Louie's obviously looking to get ready for next Friday, so we'll certainly leave that at that. But it is his day. And I'm with Hubie. Yes, all wrestling matters. We support all types of wrestling out there. We do our best to do that. And I do have a YouTube channel that if you'd like to give a sub to, my old YouTube channel with some content on there, when I maybe had less mutton chops, you want to watch some of that, you can. And you can do that right there through here. And we want to thank everybody. Also, please check out X Brand Wrestling. They got a bunch of shows coming up here next Friday. Also, you're going to see Mickey Vargas and Anthrax. You're going to see a lot of great stuff there. Also, TF Crew will be back. And yes, happy Louie Day. Yes, happy Louie Day. It does have a nice ring to it. It has some of them, some of these days I don't know if it has a ring, but that one rings. That definitely rings. We're going to definitely ring somebody's bell with that. All right, but you know what, though? Let's get to a couple of other things. First, do you have any final words for Nico Gray and Stefan Havoc before next Friday?
Again, man, I want you guys to bring everything you got, no matter what it is. Bring the barbed wire, bring the gusset plates, the light tubes, the panes of glass. Bring everything you have because I'm walking out of X Brand Wrestling that day on Friday the 13th with the Going Viral Championship. I don't care which one of you I have to put down. I don't care if I have to put you both down at the same time. I'm walking away with gold, and that's it. And if you have a problem with it, if anyone has a problem with it, come step up or step aside. Because, like my good friend Mikey says, if you step up, you're going to die trying.
I do have to ask you, and I heard the railroad, so I think you really do live close to where my mother lives. But I think you really do. That's why I'm definitely not going to get on your bad side. I gotta ask you though, Instagram. You've become a big deal lately because I'm sure you know what I'm going to ask you about. Gabe Sayers and that white people's food. You were a part of that with Mikey, and it's funny because I'm from Brooklyn, right? And I had this joke yesterday with Devin Adams, who's wrestling the WTW Hardcore champion. He's wrestling for the world title there against Rex. Then I had Doc on himself here at Sportswire. And I said, first of all, I've never heard of this white people's food. I'm a white guy. So what on earth were you doing in Gabe Sayers' video with you and Mikey Anarchy? And what happened there?
Well, he wanted to, quote, feed his large friends food. And we thought he was going to make us maybe a lasagna, a nice steak dinner, maybe some mac and cheese. The fucking idiot pulls out a box of spinach.
I saw that. Yeah, I saw
Does it look like I eat spinach?
Maybe in the next life.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe in the next life. I don't eat spinach. Broccoli, carrots, maybe a little peas. I don't eat spinach, man.
Yeah. I mean, Gabe, I don't know. I mean, did he maybe tell you it was going to be something else to appear in this video?
Me and Mikey thought he was inviting us over for a nice dinner.
Well, it reminds me, you ever watch True TV and Practical Jokers?
Yes.
This is kind of what Gabe basically did, was he gave you his own version of Impractical Jokers. He told you one thing and did another.
Yes, he did.
I mean, well, I hope you did get a steak dinner eventually. I hope you got one. I mean,
we did not. We did not get a steak dinner that night.
But Gabe has certainly taken a life of its own. I was actually speaking with Castor off the air on Sportswire about this, and I still don't know what white people's food is, and I'm a white guy. And then,
I don't know. I heard something about ambrosia salad and I don't know what any of that is.
I would rather die than have ambrosia salad. So please, I'd rather have my other hand fractured and have no hands.
Yeah, I'm good on that. I'd rather eat the spinach than some ambrosia salad.
You know what? I feel so blessed that I just had pizza from Brooklyn on 86th Street before. Oh my God! You know what? I watched this video here where I was like, I got to ask you about that. And speaking of people that did want to say hello, before I ask you about GTS and final words, there you are, the new champ. Thank you, Carly. We changed her photo, and she does look good in the photo. So go check her out and follow her on Instagram. New champ. Speaking of people that did win a book that you thought you might have won, but don't worry, we're gonna give you something else to win soon. Don't you worry about that. Louie Jr., love you, brother. You're a good friend, bro. And he was also saying you're a good friend because you let him win my Gary Wolf book, which I did mail on Saturday. So when he gets it, I'm sure he'll even say how much of a better friend you are.
You know what, man? Everyone has their own, thing. Cheney was the first guy to welcome me with open arms in GTS. And for that, I will always be forever in debt and grateful to Tony Cheney. He has taught me a lot, in and out of the ring. Cheney, I love you, dude. You are literally a fucking workhorse in wrestling and in real life because you give the best advice no matter what situation. Again, same thing with Ice-T, Fran, Mark, Adam Bazar, who little does he realize
absolutely, yes.
He saved my life because there was a point where my life was not good. I was going through a lot of stuff mentally, personally at home. And Adam, every week, still to this day, picks me up and takes me to GTS every week. Me and Adam travel up and down the roads to Connecticut to GTS. I'm bringing him with me when I go to Florida. Adam Bazar, Mark the Shark, the Cheneys, Winter Vex, they've all become my family because they are just a group of people that are talented, are just beautiful human beings in general, wrestling or not. Without those guys and girls, I don't know what I would do in real life. I talk to them every single day because, on Thursday, it's like a big family reunion when GTS time rolls around. So without you guys, man, I really don't know what I would have done. I thank every single person that has tuned into this stream, every single person that has helped me in wrestling. Anthrax being a big one, I mentioned him earlier. Without Anthrax, there probably would be no me. He's given me a lot of opportunity, opened many doors for me. Carly, who is just consistently there when you need somebody, who I love with all of my heart. Um, Stefan Havoc, again, I do have to go to battle with him, but that man is somebody I can call and he'll pick up the phone. Eden Poison, who is going to be a fucking star in pro wrestling. Crazy Dave, another guy who's going to be a star. Just so many good human beings in pro wrestling, and a lot of people get a bad rep because this, that, and the next. But I cannot say a bad thing about any person that I've met, whether it be GTS, X Brand, TF Crew. It's a family, man, and you just have to love it. And every single one of us fucking love pro wrestling, no matter what kind of wrestling it is.
Absolutely. Now, listen, you guys are all awesome, and you got my full support, even with one hand only. But try a career at stand-up comedy, because this doesn't seem to be going too well here on Sportswire. Just kidding. Yes, thank you. Today, we are all completely unstoppable machines. And I think Mark said that seriously, not kiddingly. Speaking of people that I am very excited about the future for, Christopher Black. Christopher, get Expert X Black. There you go, Christopher Black. And certainly ask Angel Santiago about that. Santiago. Spanish and artichoke dip is the only way to have spinach. No, I don't think, maybe a Popeye episode I'll watch and have spinach, but we'll keep going. I didn't say that, LOL. I just think he's a good friend. I was a joke. We're just kidding. Just kidding. Please follow X Brand Wrestling, and please follow GTS. We also want to say he's here for you anytime, and same for me. Not that I'm on the same level as them, but if you do need something, you can message me, and definitely knock on my mother's door. I definitely want you to knock on her door, especially. That will be hysterical, and I will certainly give you a few dollars for that. No, well, maybe. But all right, before I let you go, you have any final words before the Redo Rumble?
The Redo Rumble will be special. However many participants in it, we are going to give you a show like we always do every week. No matter who's in it, again, I'm going in there with one goal, and that's win the Legendary YouTube Championship. At this point in my life, I've done a lot of crazy things, and I've checked off a lot of bucket list items. It'd be very cool to check that one off. I want to say to every single person at GTS, like I just did, thank you all. To Grim, I don't know if he'll ever watch this. I don't know if he'll ever see it. From Louis Ramos at the age of 10 to Dave Hitchens, I say thank you for everything that you did for me and everyone else's children, because you, again, gave me something to look forward to every day when I came home from school. From Louie Jr. to Grim, I thank you for every opportunity you've ever given me to perform on your show. I thank Hop for being a motivator and being there. The whole roster is just full of talent, man, and I don't understand why those guys are not signed to contracts. I don't understand why those guys aren't getting looked at and recognized, because it's a group of talent who fucking want it, and you can tell that they want it. Again, I don't know many people that would go out there and wrestle in the snow for the entertainment of the people behind the screen. And we do that for you guys every week because we care. So just support GTS, support wrestling as a whole, support every single person you see at shows who are signing autographs and taking pictures. Because I've met a lot of people who, oh, can I have a picture? Yeah, it's $50. Never be afraid to come up and ask me for a picture or an autograph. Never come up and be afraid to have a conversation with me, because I will 100% have a conversation with you for as long as you need. Because, again, I don't do this for me. I do this for every single fan out there that has ever watched me or bought a shirt or paid for a ticket. So from me to every single person that's watched this, I love every single one of you. I thank you all for giving me a platform like this. And Tom, I thank you for giving me your Monday night when you could have been doing anything else, and you
No,
sat here
no,
and interviewed me.
trust me. I've got one hand at this point. What was I really going to be doing at this point? I've got one hand only. So, no, at this point, I think that there would be no better place to be on a Monday night in prime time on the brightest lights, the biggest stage, the only platform where all music and all wrestling matters, in the same chair that those guys like Rhino, Raven, Gary Wolf, Savio Vega, David Alfson, Mark Farner, Gus G, keep going. And Louie G sits in that chair. Yeah, I'm definitely reporting for duty. Yeah, even with one hand, I'm going to be there 9 o'clock Eastern time. So no, Louie, we thank you, Louie. No, Louie, we thank you for everything you're doing for this sport. No, Louie, I say, may you come back on Sportswire again. And in the words of Tommy Dreamer, may I have another episode with Louie Jr. And may I have more of Louie Jr. in wrestling places like X-Brand, TF Crew, GTS. The list goes on because the best is yet to come, and a rising tide will always lift all boats, and you, sir, are going to be that. Your future is just getting started, and it's about to burn bright. And I agree with you, 2026, you have the very best ahead. We're just getting started. Louie, you were awesome. I can't wait to see you out there. It is your day on March the 2nd, 2026. So I'm going to pass the baton to you. I'm going to give you some closing thoughts and take it away, my friend.
Like I said, man, support Sportswire, support all of my friends. Don't give up on your dreams, because I didn't. I kept going and going until I saw the light at the end of the tunnel. I can now officially call myself a professional wrestler, doing what I love in front of the people I love. So keep going. Don't give up. Even when the time is as dark as it can be, you will always find light, because one day you'll wake up and there'll be a good news text, or someone will have good news for you, because there's always light at the end of the tunnel. Don't quit. Keep fighting, and something will light your darkest hour.
Oh, absolutely. Listen, and in our darkest hours here, please go follow Louie on Instagram, because he's closing in on 2,000 followers. So hopefully being on that reel with Gabe Sayers got him some more followers. So maybe Gabe can trade some of his followers or give some of them to Louie. But in the meantime, do make sure that we're not going to be in the darkest hour yet, to quote Dave Mustaine and Megadeth. But follow Louie on Instagram. He will be a part of X-Brand Wrestling coming up here next Friday. He will be wrestling Stephen Havoc, who you'll probably hear from between now and next week, and Nico Gray. He'll also be wrestling in the GTS Redo Rumble. And stay tuned for what's ahead here coming up in the TF Crew. And I understand we may even see you in Vegas, I hear.
Vegas will be special, man. You can catch me at X-Brand in Vegas. You can catch me at USC in Vegas, wrestling a fellow friend who likes to swim around and likes the smell of blood. So maybe I'll drag Mark the Shark in my world.
Oh, I think I know him.
I've seen him before. But yeah, catch me in Vegas. I'll be out there for probably about a week. Just putting my name out there even more than it is, and doing what I love, and that's professional wrestling.
That's it, ladies and gentlemen. That's what it's about. And I'll tell you what, Louie Jr. is a guy I definitely have long had on my radar to come on here. And he's definitely shown why you should have him on your radar too, and support him in all the great things that he has. He's already the GTS Intercontinental Champion. He looks to add more to his arsenal. Could be Tag Team Championship gold in the future. I don't know. Could there be that GTS Legendary YouTube Championship? That may be a strong possibility. Could there be that X-Brand going viral championship? Well, that's something you very, very well may want to pay attention to very closely here next Friday. But I tell you what, he will be adding to his resume is that it is Louie Jr. Day on all Sportswire radio platforms, and anytime, anywhere, not to be confused with the Janet Jackson #1 hit. That's basically what he's saying. So, yeah, I definitely know that there is a lot to remember here with Louie Jr. We're going to see him on here very, very soon. My friend, congratulations on being the Pride of South Amboy. Congratulations on being here. Also, congratulations, most important, though, on all the great things that you're doing in such a short amount of time. And I think the best is yet to come. And I can't wait to see what you have to offer in X Brand Wrestling and GTS especially. We'll be talking about that very soon. And thank you so much for spending your time here on a Monday night. And we'll see you very soon.
Thank you, Tom. It's been an honor.
You got it. That is Louie Jr., the GTS Intercontinental Champion. My name is the Reverend Tom Bryce, the handicapped Reverend Tom Bryce. And if you're out there on Sportswire Radio, thank you so much, everybody here, for tuning in. Please support all the companies that Louie represents. Also, like, share, and subscribe to us. I will be here tomorrow, 9 o'clock Eastern Time, with Daniel Tafua. He's the WVWF Hybrid Champion and the USWA Universal Champion. So he's got some big shoes to fill, and he's got a lot to say, Daniel Tafua. So we'll find that out. But in the meantime, thank you so much, everybody here, for tuning in. I hope you have a great night. And as I always say, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, on the number one global radio station that is Sportswire Radio, where all music and all wrestling matters.